availability is a skill. It's important. It doesn't matter how good you are. If you're not on the field, you're not contributing. And whether it's his fault or not, this cannot become the story of his career, that he's only available during the regular season and he's not available during the games that matter. Now, they're in a good enough position because of his play early in the season that they've already clinched. So they're in the playoffs. So they don't really need to worry about him being out here right now. Obviously, rust is a conversation, but who cares about rust? If you have him on the field, that's what you need. You got your guy. You go out there and win the game. You're in the playoffs. I'm sure it's very frustrating for Lamar because he loves football and obviously wants to be out there if he's healthy. And I'm sure it's frustrating for the Ravens. As far as the, contract goes, which is a separate layer of the conversation, I, again, don't believe that the outlier contract of Deshaun Watson has reset the market. I don't think that owners are going to start paying this fully guaranteed contract to anyone, and particularly quarterbacks, when a quarterback is out and that changes the entire landscape of your season. I think it's going to become very tricky for negotiating if he is unavailable again at the end of the season.
What we know about sports, and we've even seen it as of late, is coaches only care so much about your feelings. It's a business. Shady and I can attest to it. Joy, you can attest to it. Dave, I know you can attest to it because as a journalist, you've got to cover it. The Lamar Jackson being lovable, being fun, being for the culture, that is great on social media. What is great in real life is Lamar Jackson being present. If he is not available for the playoffs, that means condemnation for the franchise, but more importantly for his pocketbooks. We'll get to that here shortly. Y'all got to think about this. 3 consecutive seasons, the Ravens season would end with Lamar Jackson being injured. 2019, he's a unanimous MVP. You going into the playoffs with the unanimous MVP, surely you'll go into the AFC Championship game at least. Buffalo Bills, Lamar Jackson, pick 6 in his own end zone, about to score a touchdown. Next thing you know, he gets a concussion, start of the fourth quarter, he's hurt. Last year, Baltimore Ravens start off strong. Lamar Jackson gets hurt. They tumble. This year, Baltimore Ravens start off hot. Lamar Jackson gets hurt. They falter, go to the playoffs. If he does not show up 3 consecutive years, it does not matter how lovable, how likable, how anything you are if you are not present. Furthermore, what I find so fascinating, and I cannot wait for you all to illuminate my mind on this, we pick and choose who we want to create narratives about. Remember, Lamar Jackson's first year, he only started 7 games. Because Flacco was starting. Yeah. Then his second year, he gets the concussion, misses time. Then last year, he misses time. Then this year, he misses time. But I haven't heard that injury-prone label. It's just fascinating because we do hear it with other people. Insanity, doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. It would be insane for the Baltimore Ravens to go into next season just hoping and praying Lamar Jackson will stay healthy. What, you think money going to make him healthy all of a sudden? $150 million, he's just going to be healthy? Don't make no sense, man. It doesn't make any sense. Shady, let me come to you real quick. You closest to me. What would it mean if Lamar Jackson were to be injured? Talk about the money. Talk about what you want to talk about. Break it down for me.
You talked about all the negative stuff. What about the positives?
Please do.
Right? Because who is the Baltimore Ravens without Lamar Jackson? Mm-hmm. They're a losing team.
Sure.
They're a losing franchise, right? Without Lamar Jackson, they're 8-12. Mm-hmm. That's a losing record. With Lamar Jackson, they're 45-16. Mm-hmm. Only quarterback I know of that's better than that is Patrick Mahomes. He's your only MVP you've ever had in your franchise history. Let's talk about injuries, because you brought that up, right? Who got paid this year or last year? This year.
Stafford.
Kyler Murray.
Yep, Kyler Murray.
He got hurt.
Yes, sir.
Matthew Stafford.
Got hurt.
He got hurt.
Russell Wilson.
He got hurt. Mm-hmm. I can name all the quarterbacks that got hurt when they get paid. That's part of the games. NFL, you're going to get hurt. My problem with you, not him, well, later probably, but with you right now is you talking about all the negatives. Yep. Where's the positive Acho? When you have a franchise quarterback, a franchise player, you got to ride with him. With the good, with the 45-16, right? With the MVPs, with the last 3 years going to a playoff berth, you got to ride with that. But then with the bad, hey, I get injured, I'm hurt. That's part of football. I hate when people in franchise, they want to nitpick at everything. When it's time to get paid, they want to, oh, he's this, he's hurt. No. Getting hurt is part of the game. That's what we sign up for, right? So the good things with Lamar, you take that and you love that. With the bad, you got to deal with it. That's football.
But Shady, if that is football, speak to me from the managerial perspective, because you know straight up and down, you can't build your organization if you assume your quarterback is not going to be there at the end of the season. John Harbaugh can't just be like, hey, why didn't you make the Super Bowl? It's football, coach. Quarterback got hurt. Why don't you make the Super Bowl? Ask football coach, quarterback got it. That's just not how it works.
Yeah, so the better teams, right, are the teams that could build depth, right? Now, nobody's going to be like Lamar Jackson. But 1, 2, or 3 games, you should have a backup to go on there and plug in and get wins. That's what the GM's paid to do. That's why they love Howie Roseman, right? Obviously, Jalen Hurts is a super dog and he's a beast, but all the pieces he brought there, they don't never bring no pieces for Lamar Jackson. The problem is true. And I can't even say why he's getting hurt, but a lot of days I got to carry everything. You can't have a quarterback, right? There's no other quarterback in the NFL that could do Lamar Jackson's job. Maybe Josh Allen, but even that. Like, Greg Roman, he's an offense coordinator. I played with him in Buffalo. Everybody can't run that type of offense. I got to run the ball like a running back. I got to throw the ball like a quarterback. He got to do everything. You don't bring me no help. So it puts more of the load on you. So now I got to do everything. Why not get paid?
I guess my thought process is, and Dave, as we transition to you, is Russell Wilson. He played 16 straight games for 9 straight seasons, his first 9. Matthew Stafford, he played 16 straight games for 8 straight seasons. We've seen Lamar Jackson play 16 straight games. I think they were so good in 2019. He sat the last week because he didn't need to play. But we've seen him play a healthy season once in 5. I just think owners, not Emmanuel Acho, I don't care. I hope he gets paid. It ain't impacting me. I just think that matters to owners. But, Dave, talk to me.
I'm going to push back slightly.
Push that thing back, Dave. Push
Here's
it back,
the thing.
man.
Like, you talk about narrative. Let's be real. Like, contracts don't get done during the season. Like, unless it's a player that's getting offered more than he thought he could and he runs to sign that contract, you don't see it during the season. So we haven't had a chance to get in to the news cycle of this next negotiation. Now that he's been hurt 2 years in a row, lengthy absences 2 years in a row, now it will be a story. It just will be. And I agree, Shady. I think it's just football, and I think there's ways you can mitigate that risk, signing a better backup. But now that we move into 2023 and Lamar Jackson will be angling for a contract again, you bet your bottom dollar that will be a focal point of the negotiation, is that if he doesn't play in the playoffs, this will have been 2 years in a row that he couldn't help them get where they wanted to go at the end of the season. And I will push back slightly as a journalist.
Please do.
We in the media, and y'all are part of this. Like, we're all part of this. Like, we in the media get blamed for crafting narratives. He's not signed. That's the Ravens. Like, clearly the Ravens and Lamar Jackson have been unable to come to an agreement. I said this yesterday. Like, Patrick Mahomes, his negotiation was over before we even knew it was eligible. Because when you're sold and the player's sold, it just happens. We only get into these lengthy battles when they can't come to an agreement, which means the Ravens have misgivings. Or maybe Lamar Jackson's price tag really is so high that they wouldn't consider it. But if you were completely sold on him being your guy, you get in a room and you come to an agreement. Like, we see it happen time and time again. So we maybe put the narrative out there because it's our job to talk about it and offer our opinions about it. But these narratives exist because deals don't get done. And with Lamar missing 5 games for a second consecutive season, I would imagine it's going to be a talking point again this year.
Joy, how long, because you've been doing television the longest, how long until the pervasive thought is Lamar Jackson is injury prone? Or are we there yet?
I mean, I don't know that he's injury prone. Any guy that has to be out, to me, like, injury prone is you're missing seasons. Like, Jimmy Garoppolo is injury prone. He's missing seasons, multiple seasons. He's unavailable at any given time, and he doesn't have the heights. He never reaches the height that it's worth dealing with injuries.
Right.
I'm with Shady. Injuries are part of the game. I also know how people negotiate. And I also happen to know that the Baltimore Ravens are the one organization that very adamantly and very forwardly said, we don't like that contract with Deshaun Watson. I don't think this is going to affect his money based off of the number that the Baltimore Ravens are willing to get to. It's a matter of, is Lamar Jackson going to meet them in the middle for a long-term deal? And at the end of the day, he doesn't have to. They can franchise tag him, and he'll probably get around $47 million.
Yep.
And that'll be fully guaranteed because it's the franchise tag. Yep. And then they can franchise tag him again, so he'll get another. So
it goes up the second time.
And it goes up. So let's say it's $50 million. So he's getting us around $100 million the next 2 years, fully guaranteed, even if he doesn't sign a long-term deal. Now, obviously, you'd like a long-term deal. You'd like more guaranteed money because of injuries. But we don't think Lamar Jackson's going to be done playing after the next 2 years, do we? No. So then he can then be a free agent and go somewhere else and get more guaranteed money. There's ways to play this. We saw Kirk Cousins do this at the highest level. Right. He's made a lot of money.
I guess the hard part for me is if I'm Harbaugh, if I'm the head coach, I'm trying to figure out how much can I tether myself to a quarterback that I'm not sure if he'll be there at the end of the season? What's fascinating is coaches have to answer these questions. They got wives that are dependent on it. They got kids that are dependent on it. They got themselves that's dependent on it. Right. I remember my college coach being like, hey, I love y'all, but I love my family more. I'm sure you've heard that time
that's
and time again. That's the saying. If I'm Harbaugh, I can't win a playoff game because my star quarterback's hurt. And last year I couldn't win a playoff game because my star quarterback's hurt. And the year before I couldn't win a playoff game because my star quarterback's hurt. I don't know if